So one of my favorite things this time of year is homegrown tomatoes. I really refuse to eat tomatoes anytime after September. They lack taste. You can tell they've been in the refrigerator, it just ruins the texture. And I used to grow my own, but I just don't really have the right conditions in my yard, so no longer. And one thing that I learned from tomato plants is that really you can do nothing to actually make the plants produce fruit. It's just what the plant does. But what you can do is provide an environment that encourages the plant to do what it naturally does. Plenty of sunlight, plenty of water, and one thing you can do is pinching. At any time there's a new little sprout starting to emerge, you just pinch it up so that energy goes into producing tomatoes and not new branches. But I can't force tomatoes to develop or ripen. I can provide an optimal environment and I can cut off diversions. Jesus talks about how you know a tree by its fruit, to understand the true nature and identity of something by what it produces. And Paul expands upon this when he describes the fruit of the Spirit in his letter to the Galatians. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That where the Spirit is allowed to move, these are the fruits that it produces. These are the fruits that emerge. Now, once again, we don't make fruit come. They are natural products of the Spirit. But we can consider the environment that facilitates their growth. And that's where this really hits the ground. The Bible has commandments, but not for all of life. Life is just too complicated to cover everything with a series of rules. But again, what does Jesus tell us? Assess the fruits that are produced. That in the midst of a complicated situation or in the midst of assessing where our life is going, look to the fruits produced. And that's the hard work of spiritual discernment, of looking within our own hearts, wondering what's going on in there, of looking at the way in which our life is unfolding, of observing the dynamics of relationships and communities and asking honestly, humbly, and curiously, is this producing the fruit of the Spirit or something more toxic? And if it's not producing that fruit, the next question is whether it's time to make some kind of change. What is it about the situation that's hindering the fruit of the Spirit? What are the practices or circumstances that I have control over that aren't going to make that fruit come, but perhaps create an environment where they may have more of a chance? That's very different from a set of rules that tries to cover everything and tell you what to do, but rather it's just about a constant sense of awareness and observation as to what we are becoming. And that's very different from trying to force or shame ourselves to change or to produce something, but just asking how we can provide time, space, and nurture for the Holy Spirit to do its work of growth. Maybe there's a situation that you need to step away from. Maybe there's time needed to set aside for prayer, exercise, or nature. Maybe there's an unresolved issue in a relationship that you've been holding on to quietly, but it's still there. Well, I don't know. I'm not you. But to develop a discipline of curiosity and wonder. What's going on here? What kind of fruit is this producing? That can begin to point us in the right direction. Can at the very least begin to tell us if something is going right or if something is going wrong, and for them to follow that wherever the Spirit takes us. May you find the soil, water, and light that allows you to grow more and more into the person God created you to be, patiently, peacefully, gently, and joyfully, sharing the love of and kindness of Christ, faithful to God and to the people around you. And may you discover the soil and the water that helps you to be that person